Hello. Hi there everyone. Okay, my name's Kelvin. I'm a hi-fi buff, hi-fi nut. I've spent thousands of hours tweaking turntables, changing the mats, changing the cartridges, changing the weights, changing the materials underneath, all kinds of stuff, yeah, in order to make it sound better, yeah. What do I mean by better? I mean a better defined sound stage, a sharper sound, tighter bass, you know, a good sound stage, which is what you get from a turntable, where you've got the snare drums there in the middle and the guitars, everything's in a particular place. That's the joy of turntables, that's the joy of vinyl, that's why people like vinyl. So I'm going to give you a bunch of tips on how to make a turntable sound better. Okay, first thing is your cartridge, okay? So that's your cartridge, yeah? Now this needs to be held firm, yeah? The needle is doing minute movements. If this is not held rigidly in the arm, screwed rigidly into this cartridge, it can't do its work. It's trying to do these minute movements, but it's actually in a floppy situation. So tighten those screws up there as much as you dare, okay? Don't over tighten it. You can definitely strip the thread. Any grown man can strip the thread. But if it's loose, you don't want loose, yeah? Firm, yeah? Also, when this goes into the arm, tighten that up. Keep that firm too. Rigidity is key to making turntables sound good. You don't want your turntable to be wobbly, yeah? Make sure it's not wobbling on its surface. Okay, that's number one. Number two is positioning, where you're putting that turntable. Things you don't want to do. Don't put the turntable next to a speaker. What will happen is the sound comes out the speaker, it literally starts vibrating the turntable box, and then the signal goes through the needle round the amp. You get feedback. If you turn it up too loud, you get this whoop feedback. You've got a feedback loop. You don't want that. You want to basically keep your turntable away from the speakers. Don't put your turntable in any kind of cabinet that will act like a guitar works, like a reverberating box. Don't do that. So the easiest, quickest way, without going into all the pros and cons of stands, I mean, stands are okay, but if you've got a wooden floor and you jump up and down, no stand will stop that. It will jump, right? So the easiest way you can do it is on a shelf, on a wall, on a brick wall, on a rigid shelf. That's the simplest way of doing it without going to tons of other details. Okay, number three, again, cartridge weight. So you buy this cartridge and it will say recommended weight 1.5 grams, but it will have a range 1.25 to 1.75. Now, let's say this is where you can really tweak your system using the cartridge weight. Let's say you haven't got enough bass, you'd like more bass. If you go up to the 1.75, you will get more bass, yeah? More pressure down, more weight will give you more bass. Less weight will give you more treble. More weight will also give you a firmer sound stage, yeah? When you're going lighter, it's, you know, this is literally getting less and less pressure in that groove. You're getting more of the high frequencies. So if, say, you've got a really bassy system, you go, oh, I've got too much bass, you can lighten that a bit and you'll get more treble. So, you know, there's loads of tweaks. Don't just go, oh, it says 1.5, put it on 1.5 and forget about it. Because you might go, hey, let's try it 1.75 and go, oh God, and that it will be significantly different. So mess around with the weight, you know, and you can tweak your system, make things sound better. Okay, number four is the mat under the record. Now you might think, how can this mat make any difference? It's not even touching the record. But it does, because everything about turntables is about micro sound issues and micro vibrations. So what you want under that mat is the most sound absorbing thing. That's why mats are made of rubber and felt and cork. Some mats are made of rubber and they have ridges, or they have, say, 5 you know, surfaces, raised surfaces, and they have air gap all the way under the vinyl. This is no good at all. I will now show you how to make a brilliant mat, and it's honestly, it's probably going to be one of the best sounding mats you'll ever get. You may not want to use it forever, but what you do is you get yourself a big broadsheet newspaper, one that's got at least 12 inches, you know, across. Put a record on it, cut round it, poke a hole in the middle, probably cut a few holes in the middle. The middle is actually the hardest bit to make that, and it doesn't have to be super accurate. And I'm using like about 6-8 sheets, and it needs to be nice and flat, yeah? If it's a scrunched up newspaper, it's not going to work, so make sure it's kind of flat or iron it. And you get yourself a newspaper mat. Try that, I'm not kidding, that's going to sound good. Put it on top of your existing mat is probably what I would do. I mean, you might not use this forever, but if you want to see what a mat can do, or if you've got a really poor mat, put this on, you'll go, oh God, honestly, this is probably one of the best mats you can ever use. It's a bit impractical, of course, you keep taking the records off and it'll fly around, but if you want to find out what a mat can do for you, just try that out. Okay, number 5 is levels, yeah? Again, everything on a turntable is very critical. It's minute physics going on. Make sure your turntable is flat. 9 times out of 10 they're sloping, they're wonky. Again, you might think, how can this make a difference? Just do it, just get it level, you know, stay there forever. It can make significant differences. So make sure your turntable is flat. Also, do what you can to keep your arm parallel with the platter, yeah? So if you have an adjustable arm that has a height adjustment, you know, get down there, spend a lot of time. You can only really do it by looking, and make sure that your arm is parallel with the playing surface, yeah? I mean, above it, obviously, but it has to be parallel, yeah? Lots of turntables will not have an adjustable pillar to move the arm up and down. So if your arm is orientated like this, yeah, it's pointing down, you can usually put something under the platter, couple of old records, and then your mat on top. See if you can get it flatter. If you're like that, there's not really anything you can do, and this won't go up, but do everything you can to get those things flat. Okay, you know, turntables sound great, and I'll give you some other tips on amps and speakers soon. Okay, enjoy.